In this video, I'm going to explain the process that the YAADL is going to use to assign the players that signed up individually to fill in holes or create teams. So let's go ahead and we'll get started. First thing is what is our beginning point for a team? As far as this video goes, we're going to have three basic beginning points. The first being a team that played together last year. The second would be a group of players who've gotten together and have a coach and come into the league as a group as opposed to as individuals, whether it's because they played in a different league before and now they want to play in our league, or if it's just a group of friends who want to play together and have convinced one of their parents to come coach, and so they come into the organization as a group as opposed to coming in as individuals. We'll treat it as if they were a team last year. And the third one would be the new coaches. This is going to be the majority of them. People who sign up and say, you know what, I'll go ahead and coach. Most of the time, they're only going to have their kid, maybe one or two other friends of their kid. They're not going to have full teams. This is where the majority of our individual players who sign up are going to go to fill out these teams. So let's go ahead and we'll start off with the new coach, because that will be the easiest one to deal with. Just simply, you look and you see where the kids that are on this team, the one or two or three that you have, what schools do they go to? In this case, the one goes to Malison, so the majority would be Malison. And so this team would be attached to Malison. There could be more than one Malison team. If there's a lot of people signing up for Malison, you can have more than one team from the school. And it does not necessarily mean that that is where you're going to practice. The majority of the practices will be held at the middle schools, because the elementary schools don't have net systems that go into the ground, and we want to practice at schools that have good systems so that the kids can learn to play on a proper net. Malison is the exception to the rule. Malison does have a good net system, and there's a very good possibility that we will be using Malison to practice. But just because you're attached to Malison does not mean that's where you'll be practicing. I'll explain what the connection means later, but for now let's move on. Our next group would be the group that came in from outside of the organization as a whole. Once again, you just look and you see where all the kids attend school. In this situation, the majority of them are from Blackburn. So this team would be attached to Blackburn, and now this coach is attached to the YAADL. So welcome to the family. Finally, we come to our team that played last year. Again, we look at where all the students go to school. In this situation, the majority go to Proctor, so this team would be attached to Proctor. Now, the question is what happens, since this team played last year, what happens if the coach that was with them last year isn't able to coach this year and instead gets replaced with a new coach? We're going to treat this as if the new coach has been with that team last year also. And I'll go further into the slight reason, the differences for why I say it that way in a little bit. But for now, we'll just say we treat it as if this coach was with them last year. Now, at the YAADL, we want our teams to have 8 players at the minimum. And I won't ever ask a coach to coach more than 8 players unless they want to. However, the coaches do have the option to go up to 10 players if they like. So all the teams should be between 8 and 10, which I think is a very good balance, because at 10 players, you're starting to get to the point where it's kind of hard to get all the kids on the court to play. and everybody wants their kid to play, and every kid wants to play, so you don't want to get much more than 10. And if you get below 8, then you run the risk of having to forfeit when there are scheduling conflicts or players get sick. It just doesn't work well less than 8. So we're going to try to keep our teams between 8 and 10. And the only reason a coach will have to go above 8 is if they choose to. I will not make a coach more than 8 unless they want to. But in this case, Coach Ballcap has decided he does want to coach a team of 10. So he's going to add 2 more spots to his team. However, he also has 2 players from last year who won't be able to play this year. So now he has 10 spots on his team, but only 6 players. And I'm not a math major or anything, but I think that means he's got 4 open spots. And this is really why we're making this video. This is the crux of what this video is about, is how we're going to fill those 4 spots. So those spots can be filled from other teams, and they can be filled from all the individual signups. The first go round of filling those spots, we're going to allow each coach to recruit 2 players. That means that of all these players out there, the players that have written down on their registration or have contacted the league and said that they would like to play for Coach Ballcap, he'll get to choose 2 of those players. So, if Billy Smith at Thomas Hart-Benton decides that he wants to play for this team because he's good friends with Coach Ballcap's son who's on the team, he can say, I want to move to that team. And if Coach Ballcap decides, yep, I want Billy Smith to come play for my team, and then he picks one other, those are the 2 that come to his team. And then the others go back into the pool. The reason I do this is I don't want anybody to be able to stack their team. I've seen this happen in basketball leagues. I've seen it happen in volleyball leagues, where all the good players end up on one team because all the good players want to play together and win. And, of course, the coach wants to win too. And so, you start cherry-picking the rest of the league, and next thing you know, you have 1 or 2 dominant teams and a bunch of other teams that don't compete as well. So for that reason, 2 rules I'm going to stick with are, if the player was on your team last year and wants to play for you this year, they will play for you this year. There won't be any kicking people off your team. And number 2, like I just said, you will only be able to handpick 2 players for a team. After that, we move to step 2, which is filling in from your home school. That's why we look for a majority. So in this case, Coach Ballcap's team has a majority of Proctor players. So of all the individual people who sign up, we pull all the Proctor people out, and we use these people to fill out those final 2 spots. But for the sake of this video and moving on to step 3, we're going to say that really there was only 1 other Proctor person in the whole pool, and put him on Coach Ballcap's team. That leaves 1 more spot open. That means that we're going to have to pull our final step is to pull from the remaining players, the people from other schools. So in this case, we pull a girl from Malleson, and we finish up Coach Ballcap's team. And so now his team has 2 Mallesons, 3 Proctors, or no, I'm sorry, I count 5 Proctors, 6 Proctors, and 2 Blackburns. Sorry, my counting's a little off there. But anyways, majority of his team is from Proctor, so he's going to be a Proctor team. If they win first place, the trophy will go to Proctor. Simple as that. The kids will get their medals, but there'll be a trophy for first place, and so that goes to the school. Now, what happens if we go back to earlier in the presentation where Coach Ballcap took over the team and he decided he wanted to go to 10 players and he lost 2 players because they weren't able to play this year. What happens if those 2 players that left that were from Blackburn and Malleson didn't leave, but it was 2 of his Proctor kids who left? Well, at this point, we still have a majority of Proctor. We have 3 Proctors and 2 Mallesons and 1 Blackburn. So it's still a Proctor school. However, if during his recruiting, Coach Ballcap picked up 2 Malleson kids, now he has a majority of Malleson kids. And so now it's a Malleson team. And then when we fill up those last 2 spots from all the individual signups, they will be Malleson players. And if they win a trophy, the trophy will go to Malleson Elementary. So that's pretty much a layout of how I plan on doing this. Let's face it, after I try to make it work and it doesn't work, I'm probably going to just end up throwing a dart at a dartboard and assigning players totally randomly. But I'll try my best to be fair, and you have a good day.